Hi there. I have an update for anybody who's interested, a sit rep. Let's see. So, over the last couple of years, I had three, criminal charges thrown at me. Each of the last three times I protested, I had a criminal charge thrown at me, not for protesting, per se, some made up charge they threw at me. Disorderly conduct in one case for swearing, that was dropped. um, Criminal mischief for allegedly damaging a motor trike of some guy who attacked me while I was protesting. And I beat that in court the other day. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that because still haven't done a court report about my trial, post-mortem, if you will. But that's my criminal situation. And then I've got two civil suits going. One is a 1983 suit against two uh, former deputies for Waldo County Sheriff's Department, and that's still going on. Still working on that. Fingers crossed. I think that's it hasn't been dismissed yet. I'm still plugging along with it, and inevitably getting closer and closer to some sort of settlement. And the other one though was a malpractice suit against an attorney. The first attorney that I had, who represented me when all this stuff started in 2018 for me. They threw a felony terrorizing charge at me, and this guy just completely fell down on the job. But I ended up agreeing to a misdemeanor plea deal, and so that was the basis of the dismissal. Uh, I agreed to the plea deal, so I can't say that I can't blame him according to the court. Um, until and unless I can get that conviction overturned. And I'm still working on that, still working on getting a couple of convictions overturned. There's another thing I'm doing a whole nother, that's a whole nother ball of wax. In addition to the now one remaining criminal case and the now one remaining civil suit, 1983 suit. So knocking them down, I guess, or in one case, at least the malpractice suit, they knocked that, or this attorney and the lawyer firm that represents him knocked that down. But I'm also knocking him down. First one, the swearing one just never went to court, of course, because I was charged with disorderly conduct for swearing in a political context, for referring to the Belfast police as a four-letter word. That was the basis of the charge. So, nobody's going to convict me of that, especially since the alleged victim said, well, that's legal. He can say that. He told that to the officer before she summoned me. But anyway, so there was that done. And the trike thing, that's what I'm going to talk about now, the trial for that. That was really quite interesting, quite a mess. Well, first of all, the guy that attacked me multiple times on camera in front of witnesses, this guy named Benner, Thomas Benner of Swanville, which is also where I live. And this happened in Swanville. In 2024, the incident that gave rise to me being charged, he wasn't charged with anything ever, even though he attacked me multiple times and threatened me explicitly multiple times, both while I was present and then later when he was on body camera. When the officer Nichols was interviewing him, he also made several threats to commit violence against me if he sees me protesting, for example, or if nothing happens with this, he's going to come after me. Told this to the officer, straight up. It's all it's all the body cams footage is all uploaded. If you're interested, just watch Trike Strike elsewhere on this channel. Oh, and this is a funny thing. That is body cam footage almost entirely of Banner and his interaction with the officer and his wife, and then this lady at Swan Lake Grocery where there was surveillance footage. And I uploaded it, and it got a strike, or not just strike, but it got made into adult only content. On you have to be 18 to view. I forget whatever they call that, but it basically it makes it hard for anybody to see it. You have to have a verified account with YouTube before you can even watch it. So, just some random person who doesn't have a YouTube account can't do that. But the reason for that, the email I got from YouTube said that it was because of violent talk, including talk of self-harm. So I don't know what Thomas Benner said. It couldn't have been anything I said. Said to him is I called him a few names when he was coming at me. Told him not to come at me again, basically. So it wasn't anything I said. And I can't imagine it was anything the officer said. So it's just Thomas Benner, these threats he's making, triggered the YouTube algorithm. They didn't trigger any charges by the local police, but they triggered the local algorithm. They also triggered the judge, in a sense, in this trial. The charging decision, first of all, came up, and which is sort of, this was pre-trial. And the DA said, well, in regards to Benner not being charged with anything, he said, well, that was just another prosecutor's decision. That didn't have anything to do with our office. It was his boss, DA Irving, who was the one that signed off on no prosecution, specifically signed off, do not prosecute this guy. But he didn't have anything to do with that. Just his boss did. But the judge bought it. And anyway, then the judge, a little bit of the evidence had been looked at before trial because to see what could be shown during trial kind of thing, what evidence is going to be allowed and whatever. And the judge said, well, having seen some of this evidence, he asked the DA, I know that Thomas Benner isn't the one on trial here, and so this is kind of unusual, but Thomas Benner, given what he's said, he may want to take the fifth, or if he wants to take the fifth, we should discuss that or something like that, because Thomas Benner might incriminate himself, or the body cam footage shows him doing incriminating things. Here's what DA Entwistle of the Waldo County District Attorney's Office said. The Assistant District Attorney for Waldo County said he can't imagine anything Thomas Benner could do that would result in them bringing a charge against him on the video or anything he might say on the stand. In other words, he granted him basically blanket immunity. There's nothing he could. I can't imagine anything he could possibly do that we're going to charge him for. He can say whatever he wants. So that was interesting. And then at the end of the trial, when it was proved, that the dispute was, Benner claimed that I had just went up and hit, and all the other witnesses claimed that I just went up and hit his trike without any provocation whatsoever. Now the videos, which the police refused to look at for the most part, at least mine, the surveillance, it wasn't quite as clear, so they looked at that, but it ended up with in court, they showed a copy of a copy of a copy, basically, was the best, clearest view, that I blew it up, and so you could actually see what was going on. Anyway, this guy Benner and all the witnesses said that I just went up and hit his strike. I just went at the guy, according to one of the witnesses, without any provocation, and just hit his strike. And then he came at me, and then he flipped out, came at me, and whatever. But what actually happened is Thomas Benner came at me first. He verbally accosted me, threatened me multiple times, tried to hit my hand when I gave him the finger, and then he tried to run over, after saying, I'll run you down, he tried to run over my feet. And then, and only then, did I hit the fender of his trike, and it didn't even do any permanent damage. It just marred it a little bit. He was able to buff it out, but I was still charged, and he wasn't charged with anything, and apparently has blanket immunity. But then in court, I showed the videos, and by the end of the trial, the DA is, obviously he's not. It's obvious the jury's not going to buy. Well, Thomas Benner didn't attack him first, because it's been shown in the video and been exposed at this point. That no, in fact, Thomas Benner very much attacked me first. Yeah, there you go. And so the DA starts arguing this. He says, well, basically the Thomas Benner's attack was justified because Thomas Benner kept on going on about how he was so offended by my signs. That's why he came at me. Only afterwards, of course. But that's why he originally accosted me, because he was so angry about the vulgarity on my sign, that he comes out of a store and starts yelling vulgarities at me. Like that makes any sense. But anyway, that was the excuse he was using. And his wife kind of chimed in on that at one point too during the trial. I forget exactly how. But anyway, so then the DA starts using that. He says, well, look, I mean, maybe Thomas Benner did attack him before he hit his strike, but look at the offensive word on his sign. I mean, wouldn't you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, be offended and want to attack Mr. Floyd if you came out and saw that word on a sign? Come on. The only just thing here is to find him guilty. Thank you. And seriously, that's not far off. He was literally advocating, telling the members of the jury that they should feel. I mean, that's essentially advocating. He's like saying, because see, now those jury members are going to go out into the world and they're going to think, well, I guess it's okay with the DA and with the cops and everybody. If you see somebody with an offensive sign, you can attack them. This guy, Thomas Benner, is effectively kind of deputized. You know what I mean? Especially him. Because now he can physically attack me, and they can't imagine anything that he would do that would result in a crime. And Thomas Benner, I guess, would make a good cop because he's a liar and he hates protesters and free speech, and he likes to boss people around, and he has violent tendencies. So he would definitely make a good cop. So I guess he's the new sheriff of Swanville, maybe, or something. And he can get away with stuff like, imagine if any of you have seen the video where he comes at me and he's yelling at me and all that stuff. Imagine if a cop acted like that. But him and a cop doing that. That video would go viral for sure. Because it's it's outlandish behavior for anybody, but it's outlandish, especially for a cop in a uniform on a department motorcycle. That would go viral like crazy. But Thomas Benner does it, and I get charged, and nothing happens. No consequences. The only upside of all this, I suppose, is that Thomas Benner does not have qualified immunity. So, there's that. But holy crap, it was just a mess. Like I had given my attorney all the questions beforehand, but I did the questioning, opening, closing statements, and the questioning of the witnesses. And midway through the trial, he starts asking me, "Why are you asking him that? Why are you like?" And then asides, and because I had given you all these questions and you said they were fine. You know what I mean? There was some lack of preparation, let's say, which I hope to correct in this final case coming up, the criminal case, because this one's a felony, so it's a lot more serious. Even though the case it's absurdly weak, I'll be a little bit surprised if this one goes to trial. Kind of, maybe, but then again, the DA really wants me behind bars, so probably it will, no matter how weak it is. And they're starting to throw spaghetti at the wall, introduce all kinds of, new evidence into discovery all of a sudden now. But yeah, so we'll see how all that goes. Yeah. Okay. So thanks for being interested enough in my saga to bear witness to this. And well, it's not my saga personally, there's my story of injustice. If you're interested in injustice and correcting it, hopefully, at some level, to the degree that we can. Thank you. And keep fighting. Peace.